Hey guys, happy day number 43 of 90 Facebook Lives for me. And my name is Alan Thomas, and I have Rethink Dieting for Men, which is part of Transform My Future Coaching. And a little bit of my story, I tell it every night. So if you're hearing this for the 43rd time, you're probably sick of it, but some of you might not have heard it. And so in 2017, I reached 304 pounds on March the 2nd. I was 55 years old. I'm 5'11". I'm not 10 feet tall, and morbidly obese. Had been obese for years, but that 304 changed everything for me. And immediately at the time had been in life insurance for many years, and selling life insurance and primarily to the senior adults, people over 65. And I had never met a man over 65 years old that had more than 100 pounds of extra weight on him, that was morbidly obese like I was. And the reason that I've deduced was that most guys don't make it that long. They don't live that long when they're morbidly obese. And so it immediately spelled that I would be dead in less than 10 years. My wife, who I'd been married to at the time, 31 years, I've been married to her 34 years now, she'd probably move on after I died at some point and remarry, and I'd be known as the first husband, the guy who died of a heart attack, a stroke, diabetes, type 2 diabetes, something that was weight related, maybe sleep apnea, maybe a zillion other things. And it just got me moving. But one of the biggest things that got my attention was that I believed that there was really a purpose for me that went beyond anything that I was doing at the time. And for me to not have the chance to do that really was just as scary as death. And so I publicly committed to losing 129 pounds in 265 days, and I reached that weight loss target in 260 days and dropped to 129 pounds that time period. And then, people were asking me all along, well, what did you do? What'd you do? And I always tell them, hey, you don't want to do what I did. And they said, well, what diet are you on? I said, it's not your diet. They said, it's not. They said, what do you mean it's not my diet? I said, well, of course you got to change the way you eat, but that's not your problem. If that was your problem, you'd already have the weight off. The program I used, a fantastic program, but I failed on it 5 times. So was that the problem? Was that really my solution? It was part of it, but it wasn't all of it. I had to really rethink dieting completely, and that's why I came up with the concept Rethink Dieting. And a little over a year ago, I started working with men directly. And today, when I was talking to one of those individuals, he's an incredible individual. He's having all kinds of successes in his life. He's still on his weight loss journey, and he's down about 60 pounds. And he was telling me some of the different men he runs into in his business, which has come out of his weight loss journey, and the impact he's having, and just it's been incredible. But it made me think about how many men that I talk to day in and day out that have literally just stuck their head in the sand, is what it appears like. They ignore the fact that they're 100, 200 pounds overweight and just think that they can go on forever. That was me. And it got me thinking about the ostrich. That's the the cartoons on TV you see with the ostrich, which is with his head stuck in the sand, believing that it would just all go away magically. But it got me thinking. I said, I wonder if that's the real story about the ostrich. And I'm not an expert on ostriches, but I can type in a search on Google and say, why do ostriches stick their head in the sand? And I found something interesting just a little while ago. And it really is kind of speaks to what I think happens with a lot of men, is that those ostriches are sticking their head in the sand in order to tend to their eggs to new life. They're tending new life. They're turning those eggs over and over. And for baby ostriches that are coming along, and that's really when I'm on the phone with men who are interested in my program. There's so many it's not right for. I'm not for everybody, I promise you. But the men that that I invite into my program, I look for this vein of gold in them. I really do. I look for a vein of gold that is, that goes beyond their excuses for why they got in their condition. We all know it's obvious. When I was 304 pounds, it was obvious to me I was fat, and there was no denying it. I actually stood up in one of those weight loss meetings years ago and just said, hey, guys, we've been coming to these meetings over and over and over again. We're all fat. And I told them my weight, and everybody was like, oh, he said his weight. I'm like, oh my God, who doesn't know? So I was sticking my head in the sand. But For me, it was when I was able to take the weight off, it uncovered within me some gold that I wouldn't have found otherwise. And that's what I find with every man that I work with, is there's always a vein of gold running through them that they can't get to. It's like there's new life. Like, even though they stuck their head in the sand for a period of time, the men that there's so much potential within them that the weight is covering up. It's like the sand is covering up the new life for those ostriches. And so I thought that was kind of interesting. I don't know if any of this makes sense, but it got my attention. And I literally just read this 10 minutes ago. So I got to go do a Facebook Live. This is too funny. Not funny, but just wild. And I got a text message from another client of mine that his before and after picture, he updated it for me. It's like, holy smokes! I mean, it doesn't even look like the same person. And was it his diet? Of course he had to change his diet. Was it his exercise? Of course he had to change some exercise. But was it the way he was thinking? Absolutely. And today he's stepping into a version of himself. He's within 15 pounds of his dream weight, and it's so neat to see. I mean, he tagged me in a post about an hour ago that he posted to a mutual friend of ours and somebody else that I don't know as well. And he was giving me credit for it, but I don't say that to impress you, because he gets all the credit. His business is changing. His kids are looking at him different. He's a younger guy, and I'm 58, almost 59, but I'm younger than I was. I mean, I talk to men that tell me that they haven't, their doctors give them. I think they're now doing, if you're morbidly obese, a lot of physicians will. There's tests you can have done. I think, I'm not a medical professional, as you guys well know, but there's statistically, based on your size, how much extra age you're carrying on you because of your weight. And I talk to men who are almost out of life because of morbid obesity. And so what I would say to you is, be the ostrich. Be the ostrich. Be turning over new life inside of you. Be turning over new life. That under that sand that you've hidden, that that weight that is covering up, there's new life. Maybe there's 5 years more. Maybe there's 5 minutes more. I don't know. I mean, I don't have any way of knowing what you dropping 100 pounds will do. I can't help but thinking of all the dreams, all the potential, all the hopes, all the desires that are locked up inside of men that have buried it with one more bite of food, and they believe they can't get the weight off, but there's this glimmer of hope inside them. They say, maybe, just maybe, there's a way out. And I promise you there's a way out. There's a way out of obesity. And so don't give up. If you get anything out of this, don't give up. This isn't some sales pitch. I'm giving you a sales pitch. I just want to encourage you. Don't stop digging. Don't stop searching. There is a way out of obesity. I'm happy to help, happy to get on a breakthrough call with you. I've got that at the end of in the caption on the video. But just know this, that you cannot outrun the fork. You're not going to be able to out-exercise it. You can't justify it with the perfect food. If you eat too much of anything, it's going to change. So you do have to change what you're doing. That's common sense. Come on. But is that really the 90%, or is that more like the 5 or 10%? I believe it's more like 2 to 5%, the nutrition and exercise. It's 100% important. You've got to change. But at the end of the day, it's rethinking this process, rethinking how you've always thought about dieting, so that you'll never go back again, so that you can get your dream weight and be able to step into the version of yourself you knew you could be, who you thought you were going to be when you were 18 years old or 16 years old. And I'm just a guy that, I'm not a doctor, I'm not a dietitian, a nutritionist, or physical fitness expert. I'm a guy that was morbidly obese, over 300 pounds, and I found a way through the wilderness, and I know there's a way out, because if I can make it out, I tell you, I consider myself one of the worst of the worst. But I don't believe God put you on this earth to be obese. I don't believe that was his choice for you. That was a choice you made, and I made. And so if you're morbidly obese, it is a choice, and it's a decision. And it's not a diet that's going to change you. It's decisions that are going to change you, and action behind those. The diet's just one piece of it. So if you haven't heard anything I said tonight, hear this. Be encouraged. There is a way out. If you need some help, reach out to me. transformmyfuture.com/apply and book a free breakthrough session. It's 45 minutes to an hour, and we'll unpack what's going on in your life. But I want to say to you, it's not about what's held you back. It's about where you're going. I was held back by my weight. So many of the men that I work, all of the men I work with, when I ask them, does your weight hold you back? Yes. And it's like, so let's do something about it. If you need some help, need to get unstuck, reach out to me, and I'll see you tomorrow night. Take care.